Welcome to the Voice of Victory, leading souls to Christ. Mbiyamana wategera de modoligarete ase gusiengi mane ase ko yagusi le rona nyora bagaka gita babere na kone litoguru.
Ngo saburo ni muambi mbongi.
Aye.
Peniso ni Kongo kali.
Wone liete li okali ngai liruwe wa.
Okali gali musintongo.
Oyo ngoge. Na kibalo bwa mata na Musa.
Yaro mumuromo aba Musa se abaishamoke.
Mugambi bwa bategane.
Na nyuga ta.
Ono mugambi anoyo.
Njende mbongi.
Mbongi oyo mwabongo.
Mbongi ari mwaba Kenyasa maremu. Mwabuhira, mwakanyabeta. Balenga bane.
Balenga bane.
Nabangina babere bwali na munayo.
Tewanga naye kemo.
Okali yaro. Okali yaro yo mwaba Musa. Oyo mwaba Ntiri. Oyo mwaba Kindo. Na bwa balenga ba mwaba bumungino yomo.
Egongo na Musa na yaro mutanga ni kubatizo se kanise yensi die ko se banana. Se mo mai mangana.
Musa na yaro batisiro na yaro ruete kanise ya garo kirata bachagete ko nyanjwa.
Ego oburigere ko jalo no mo. Ono mundo ko ku Musa na bwa bagaka batanga na matayo ko basi babere. Abona bujitu wanijio kuenda kusienge.
Ya.
Bone kanisa na yaro muhalo kai karango. Saburo nindi karanga ya jagete ro nyoro bole. Se na lokal
na be kanise ye between 1986
na nga ngai ya ruete ko saburo
ruete ko kiamo kama
ngai ya ruete ko
kiamo kama ya ruete ko kesusu
omo ajire sino iko bono Musa ko ke na ikarango ino ya renge sa sukuru ya
kiamo kama
lakini atoko ke kama ike kare ya ro abo e karuke sue na ke sunga imo kai da ruete nyanju wose nyakuta
ba
nyakuta na nyakuta ngai ya ruete
nyanjwa
nyanjwa
na nyanjwa karuara lea gendia idogoro kindu be dali kindu be yo mondo na logo na pasa kaskaren ne roje do romga ka 1006 1906 ali dini ya zidi ja grede gusi ikabono kera ngora ba ka bango nyira mangana amana ali amakuru ndibona ya mwaka wajide kanisa
nje wanje te mwaka 93
tukwana abantu bali baturigera matakaro kundigera mbali kwa rakusibwa kundigera kana geri ba kwa kera ripe
na kera
ai waje
93
na sababu mugambi
ngekoro bwana murisha ne kanisa nde ya Kiangama kubona kana itakanyoro patiso elie gotana batiso no mwaka era
omwaka uri era
myake yonse na ngo mubwati tu
ekwale ko bwatani
na ngo kona
ekare kwale kwa ndige usiwe noti ngole ngo murayo sawa
na mia omoyo
njena ikerdo leko rukuto toto no ngo lenga tikajeli uri no muzaka na
ototo mwalimu
ngisa ko maranga lige ngabona to kale kuona mangana 1960s na 70s ngaba sa baita kala mo goje kale sabono to kwana mambale nge basai njomo sa na ikerdo modanga ne aleko na ototo maranga no uri to koloka lige marango ye kararuo yo bodi ngodewa Nemia
omoyo
ko rale
ko tironge
kiamana senge ja kwana mangana yo ikangi nyoli nagi ano mwana ndana ro zile talia wo mawaka mandera okoro kwa Musa wona ko Musa mo kumro
Musa
ngo dalo mukamuroe ngondo ba dianga ngikitu ara ko nagi asomo julio mandera kuma to ko ngumoro mo nguru de ga na ngi ka chobo kendu ono ekado ko likera ligo edini ya sidi ne bwate megiro ya ne bindo aya kwata no mwako kwa batizo no mwako
uri era
August aya no yo mwako kwa batizo
no batizo ira mwaka
93 wana ndu abande ndu to bialere kanisa to manyiti era na jete ko boka nganyara mama ro kuje kanisa na kama ngana wali wanda na kwa leko pels
1 pels 2 pels 3
nani hauna baka
mina ngoro pels 2
na pels 1 no yo
anti
oyo moyo
pels no yo nyakwaye
lakini alese ino
alise to bana mungi na bwombongi
ono ba yani abangi na wali mbali wande ko likamalieta
ba jete ko likamalieta bagaka
yako na mbalise ande mbata ke ko likaya so
ya
bona bakaru kupeli solenga
batatu
Oyo mako kona Belsi ke mundo oibu mbonge lakini leo nyakwai ina ule number 1 oyo kabera ale ko Belsi ke mundo ogeji na ingisa ale ko kumomani rwali masibu no yo gatato Belsi ke mundo osokobe ali so abajibukira bona bangina bale ko Belsi ke mundo balenga tatato mugago le mulisi na rule urali to le ko licha maranga bona gara le ko ligira malisi ale ko bolo bona ngongolike bona kana wata na namba
1 2 3
Igo. Ikono ntunto buka to mugano. Mata bana wa ito wa kumena ki na waga. Sabu. So no to buka mugano.
Ya.
Na bora de wane.
Bueno.
Bona karanga ni mmoja kete kwa.
Wewe chakete kwa mwaka 1913.
Abaka kama lenga baro.
2013
ali mmoja kete kanisi aba kabala batera se kanisi ligweta ni Joshua Mbonge na inu na ndemale wan
bakakantoro robona botura bagaka batana se kwaya
abangina
nabo bali bono gwetania abangina
mera tugongetani
tati
ko chigoro kiana boturanga abantu 40 bona se bono ikatwa jageta abantu 10
onga ya baka batera
Awaka wange bare bakuligire na kiwa tara wata.
Lakini akere nyale wa gwetana likono obale kwa yeria amasabu. Komo ngwete kwa bale. Mojiwo ya mana kwa na alisi tulo corona gi. Abaka wange bale kwa ya aita ya UDA go so DM. Lakini yo kwa ndegoro mbaro.
Sana.
Komo lakini no ne kare tika yiji weta kona ka romo ngene kali go. Lakini mando ke bale go. Abaka na bando ke ba. Abasa. Igawa kaka dingana ndiro ilimi. Mutakire oje kanisa matera na hotera UDA na ODM yoka mo director na ibone ngani na baya so engongwa kara gine rende abaka ona aba minda oyo gara bete bune mata mo de mata ya bete bunya masi
wano
ro mo ka mo kire chena ibano sene
aria arueta aria
kone elia no
akiago
ngana akiago mai ran hada mai de dale ngo mwezi de ale ngo bahai laula bahai ono mo minoje de kanise ale ko kumago mai de steli bisieli ba da wa distu mwaka 29 Miaka 29 sababu ingo jana turubul.
Kare.
1929. Ndiri ngorake. Kujimo swali umine ro badisu mwaka 45.
Umine ra ura kai kai.
Na inje na jako badisu mwaka 80. Oto gwadin to rame njire. One gende kanara ngria bagaka anata ko segeda bagaka. Abagaka aboso kuli elese jikwa jigo jamano. Nandi ribaja abangina balenga batatu abagaka malenga. Ikono bagaka kano boru tuko iguru na abangina bana bara abuchi iguru. Abagaka sajale no se bono
na bana. Na bana. Abana.
Bono abasaya barabumba.
Na barabumba bwate challenges.
Bono singenje yechingaki bona ale kuanja muna bagaka aba kuonerega. Ingiora rose getakara bagaka baje gotere kanisa. Yomindo kale.
Nje bono ndo chenga bagaka egento ke wenete ke bareta ase kanisa. Ekarutura kongasa matera totere gero twarumunso chia sebale egere bakorora ogotera amatera ari twaterira twarumunso egera barete baso batwa kambani karutura atere na tutwale obomo na inde tutwale ebirengere biko genda so bwamo bungusana ni butayo buto
marwaira mange hakuna gututanda marwaira mange saitani agotoria botuko no mugaso monene Yesu iwotokonye marwaira mange hakuna gututanda marwaira mange saitani agotoria botuko no mugaso monene Yesu iwotokonye Nyasaye konya chikanisa chosi barwani bonse abagaka n'abangina amari gaboni gako nawe teka monene Yesu iwotokonye Nyasaye konya chikanisa chosi barwani bonse abagaka n'abangina amari gaboni gako nawe teka monene Yesu iwotokonye Mogeni achire nyumba mao amaraika nigare nokobua awe onjora ekora mwanya banto etomotaya ayomorose kero mogeni achire nyumba mao amaraika nigare nokobua awe onjora ekora mwanya banto etomotaya ayomorose Nyasaye konya chikanisa chosi barwani bonse abagaka n'abangina amari gaboni gako nawe teka monene Yesu iwotokonye Nyasaye konya chikanisa chosi barwani bonse abagaka n'abangina amari gaboni gako nawe teka monene Yesu iwotokonye
Mbe amano oyo mindo kare kwa na waka wakale kibo.
abagaka ntutagete tunyora abagaka ase kanisa egere batokonya muna sesemo ya pesi naendo kubanyora gwitu ne karutura twara umunguso kalengana na matera turatera twara umunguso egere bache
Igo.
batokonye sesemo ya pesi ntoragetia ma abagaka sana
Ale ba oigo baterregio sa gatu kiro
eto
goto.
ikero gotore
Mo ambengiro jora comment asayo.
abagaka nigenda baburi nabo nese ki abone se airire bachange se kanisa bakora Nyasaye kama tukotometa se na make ndwana abagaka nabo tutagere tutamere Nyasaye kiare aitu abwatera iya airire no bora we kanisa na bara na bara kanisa buronge kiara abagaka manete kuna kurusanya magoso
Igo mo ambe kwa mesi go gobona ki mbara ibairo boga mena wagungo sana wasaja.
asacha
Bona ala wasaja nyambele kanisa ngoje ko moga amara.
wana go bora ibu abero ese
Kwa mende wone ngane ibino kwa yenda kwa ntangana. Yenda na baka bago je kanisa.
nalio bora ibura buronge se kanisa na batokora kanisa kia bara iya bangana abagaka na bara ise kanisa na bora na bara bobo buronge ninde bangusa abagaka bamwabo
Mborango gule ke usiwa dana wangina watike to mo mugambia wa garake.
agatwero
Ono nya wakambia wa wangina mo wangina watike to mugambia wa gatura wa kale ndo goje kanisa ndio mtundu watike to mugambia to atu. Ono mugaka mugambi. Ikarangeria umwada murabandanga 40 dariwo. Muigore saba sukuru enda lona.
Sasa skuru nte gole tengu bwa sawa cha simu lisho mute.
kemenyinga
Kemenyinga na saba sukuru ya.
Karanga.
Gotoka awo mute.
Mute.
Aha. Ne ogo jaje mute na romorayo.
Bora be kanisa ri.
Oyo ruete ketale.
ruete ketale
Onyometa kurwali kulensi. Ongale wananyometa.
bete bareli
Bwareli. Ona gonto kwa njali sinadino ya. Abantu bwareli. Ndu bwa dima ya mange. Ngiro de mo kwa ngana le mo ali ga ta andre bini kene ndu kwa youth program by the way abana ba mame. Ande bona hoja bonjo kana ande bara ba kayone ande bonjo kana ande ba kolera. Egora mama no aruete na muswade mintona ro. Na gono muswade lo mo ngano mo kwata kuru.
magoma
Mama no yo.
magoma no ibugechi
Ego mwa na sire tena kego.
Kaka.
nyagaka
Lakini awana bayo.
abana mbaro
Ego na tuara bakuone umwatu iko. Kolera ona kiko kuru alibuge.
kolera ne bora koro kwa mura
Ego wana ntubwa ndi mungina Joyce Mura. Joyce Mura no ibu lakini wana haguru kuyo.
wana koro kwa ibugechi
Muna na nduma kama na yo kuru kuyo ibuge lakini wana haguru kuyo. Ono abaga na hagokire. This youth program. Ngaba sai mambi ndunguru doro ni ndo digire ya serikali. Ego mechandelia basai babuga tena abaga makorte ndio. By the way, ai mugambi. Ewa sai mbatokate mechana lakini alinga.
Bwana ene
Mejana nere batogete turakuona ngaro yabasai ono tujagete kebini kyabasai
aba bero no ba buchure na gasije ba nge bara baibi bandu basira dawa ya kulevya
ngogo ke ba wasai yabasai moi boto ni na kuona baka wakuona
ono ese kanisa mpaka dia jana kwa sababu
imani na jana aya fundi wa mitambo na basaka na bere ko muatikane na marume na muatikane ko yero ka ayo kali ngora mende se
Jabona kate ndo chenga bana banyasari ko bakonya egere mni abono kartu kwanira mangana yo go semia singe jabasai nyasaba konyi kiagera basai bono na butubwata mategemea matukagoja
igo lakini ndo sako beko bolange na basai boss binawa ntubwata basai kanisa mano sako beko bolange na basai boss binawa ndikato tena ki abasai mbaro bakke baba kete tele ngai baba kete koje amarume chisigara enya sole amangana ndo ko kuana ane brinde bogwa se Bono kwa yomo sa maambia anyo meta mara wa nyomo. Na nda wa Friday na ndo le ndomo. E wiki ya ma wata wakungu bata. Wasa irangona. Lakini wana mwaka wasa mogam. Comment yangezi.
Bwana ngese na tena ki ese wakali mo kale go tire serie dia Voice of Victory.
Ene TV reading source class. Ina ba ito no era ba ita we na manera we na weta na mogo ya ka gara ta comment. Ganda
mo ka nengia na mone soko gandiri ngana dia nyasa. Aka tire di nyinge ngarangura jibe TV jiga kangu jibe ko ko jibu ata mangana yense mono. Lakini Voice of Victory kora na mo te kora o boro kera bueno bore se mangana ye kanisa.
Bono digana ko bori abu abu. E karo ko le TV ya Voice of Victory na rijiri jinde atangeri okorere moinaria ne mate movera na mugamo murobo lakini karo Voice of Victory
ebwata masikani ande
ebwata masikani egoga mwana tangaze saburo ne kuone ngane yabantu bego kurumu
Voice of Victory bwata amotagarari ebwata mupangirio na bipindi byabo bibangire
ana bwata masikani beko kintu ya masikani
ya
bayise ke bando ko jabana na kanyagara ko kumina gi obe bajianga isiko omede
elimugwati
omede bana wala ngomanya umuntu amandebeka ayifundi wa mitambo mwako amandebeka abana tali chianga chikobora egetamba gekobeke babuturana egera baisana kobeka bonse yani ko muibote fundi wa mitambo egetamba gekobeke egera senge jobale batano liba bale osonera babere basona bale balenge wono kwa mana konyo ne sikati gera magoro yeji amagoro woje igoro tali bara ba wanje ne getamba gekobeke moja mata yo bandora ka rasibi tamba ora sibi tamba egera wana wita banyaroka ba boibia akali ngora komendina
aya dingi TV ya Voice of Victory ebwato bosemina nebwate amangana yokogenda no bunyasai ayo mono agutusukie kiagera kartoko genda aski TV kirikinde gikoro ki no bunyasai igo chigotoira ase birengereri bie ke bosaitani one kautura ase TV eye ngotusukiera nga yatoreta rumoika yatusukia toreta spiritual yakongase ngincho yokonyora ringana kurwa ase TV ene tonyanjete sana koyerigere
ayo mayana mangana ukali na magabetali ya asa Voice of Victory amna baka bako na kurusi ngara nduma to sako yo ni moda na kinijite by the way ondora kana jidi bijine mogo beka jibinto binde omaede ase gendokoro ka media ndobwata mangana ya basai ndobwata mangana ya bana ndobwata mangana yo bole mina kerege gotari ko konde mdu wanga tegana ki chibiki cha jinde njiri jikora abe ko sema
ya
chitabwati maskani
chitabwati maskani
igo bono ebindi ebinga do na almost 40% ne ebindi bekabe bi abana amangana anda mana okora kende amangana ara mahingora yo molekoro ase Voice of Victory
mangana ko nyortora magia konyora tuli mirubirie menge kiagera mbabwate mirubirie menge bakoreta lakini yonsi pia kogenda mono mirubirie ya Voice of Victory igekari gutusuki monange yokorete birengari bikogenda n'ubunyasai
omaete nana ayo mugambi omaete mejana nera esenge jotokorande bakesa batabantu bane batigire boje kanisa bana kana tigandi ile Voice of Victory amarandi nare nyomba kiora komende se kyo mugambi
abana ino na borandi bode se radio se TV abo kwande kanisa tiare kanisa kaliyo kogenda yere project ko ekene bichana ka kwande se kanisa abo ko musonde na ono yore ngo muhamata kitogende kanisa turate kana to ko monenda ko se nyomba na so rie TV nyomba kanisa to twasangamo
yani kanisa ekera abantu bagusanga hamo nigo ekonyorekana chinguru chia obunyasai go chikomenteka
ngoso wachire
yani ko baye bweka nyumba
Paulo amana ko kuona seketa kya bayiberania yana merongo na bitano mutika ko sangerekana nana yandra ban
mune biranga bya bande bire
lakini toka yande kanisa ekera tonyo robo moe kanisa is a social gathering yana asema mwana mumirane murwe birengere bataribo weda nayo bonyasaye bwa karagende none karo kubekoro ko rikoramo ndoji lakini okobeke jinyinga ejikoya ngobono mbyeto sangere kanamo egaro muriro ido ute okugenda goito gokine lakini akanya abantu bane bagoje kanisa nebitina negano no sono ulimo no mano sono igobona abantu nekanisa goje sono bitina kani igobona bwanjani mbuyo asibitina bino byose ataragire bitina ne ese kanisa bwanjani mbuyo igobona mo
bokoro igora ya sambole isabo
ekyaganya sai no bwanjani
ukana ngokalo tuyubya
ya sai no bwanjani nyasaye nigo anjete sabantu banchaine no nyasaye goso nyasaye sabantu bangaine nyasaye talikobero nyasaye talikobera subwa mate butai
ibindi gego na youth program igobona etogenda tekiranya ketenagi enkoro ya mwanya bantu part 1 na part 2 nana nende enkoro ya bagakaba igekara ba gukura igangosoka bale singe je bintu binde togenda we will switch on to English or others kora kwandra abantu mumwe ndo na jerio kaya
nero tumanyete buya
nero mo elisa bikiria nari nene no mugakonde naro kuri Samuel amenya Musota mwana kyagoro kwera
nero kuri Giresi
ndojero bo manda bo ikotukwanira abanda
bona abakwaniriga Giresi madamu asure na rura maiga manene
yoko muruga madamu akasomera twana abana
madamu nero somya abana muri mani ya Italia na inde na abekerwo kyobolei na inde bono gale agosomya ari madamu goje chinsamo kyabogera ma
ritaya by the way
bono kitagire
ritaya last year
okay
na bantu ba mwaka moriga ko nyama yayo
bono na ndebe tino no muchangura ali ase skuru se kanisa rio mabera Tarehe 7
mwezi wangapi
mutienyo to gochio 10
igoto chito baile
bono na boto goteba baria wero wisasi bakonye kanisa riegere sirwe na bo mata munera abwate ngabona ali no bakogota gochia
igo
bono siro bokoleri
bya mono mugambi no kana igure bya mono wana senge jejinga atoka na isika putura onia genda kama bibere turwa matangazo ngoro gotera ngoro gotera ngoro Joseph kurwele kwa nyajodi ngoro bando ba Joseph bakaoni mwabo ngoro gotera gokobeko na ndo so mawo jitu ke metoni kama bibere fundi wa mitambo na woto de na mbya mono no mugago yo manyene so iso bitone kegoro
mwago yo
amani sinyamali
evani sinyamali
iko mumukwane
tu amugwani nera sana
na to kwa sega sana como
asante
mo weda wa kambia wa kwa asa yide tora na break da ka matoni kama bibere na mate na koigo munguru diga na ino fundi wa mitambo take over
Keep watching Voice of Victory TV, leading souls to Christ.
Ouru Superstores Limited Kisi niko barentera mangana maya saba na bodaboda wetera somo rubiri umanyakaire muna bodaboda express counter uyorengete kwangu yaba na bodaboda obawe kakogora ebinto ao gochakire tarike ya mutinyi 10 omwaka oyoiga goikachi tarike 30 neyemo abana bodaboda nigo barachikoroserwe counter yabo ya bene ase baragore ebinto asirigoririe inse na gokorerwa bwango mono nyuma kagwakorero bwoncheria na Ouru Superstores Limited nigo goterna asiri bagabo igoryo kwenyorera ebiegwa ao une reflector jacket amone biego binde binge gwakadera kende yonsi gotayo
asamarida ngoro Rafael Maraga ngoro wa chinsamo chia kigogi ni amaranje ngo gatene duka ya Ouru Superstore because ige gotokorera bwangu muno formaganto aranyorete challenge yo kotware jam akire aramuna wano ntwana boda boda tokotaka twagenda bwangu twanyora se tokogenda boda express azo totangeire okona dara yo twa South bwangu inde twanya gwikira n'ibintu bindi boigo sama goria igara magoria mayamono ombe ali neji duka chinde goto wa kambuya Ouru Superstore endre tutagenda tokonyora services botambe
asama ngenda boko baikera gwetera se namba yesimye kobwatia 01 11 16 15 00 01 11 16 15 00 Ouru Superstores Limited, the people's choice, guaranteed lowest prices or your money back. Karibu nyumbani. Cosmeris Medical Center ni nyagitari enya ya chira somo chogusi ediokorwa obogwenia asa marwaire ao nigo ebwata abanyagitari bari n'obumanyi obonene boigo nkorenga bari amarwaire ao na boigo mbabwata chimashini chekerero chogopima na boigo koringoria amarwaire ao
Tupima amarwaire ni sukari, twapima prostates y'abasanja, twapima na fidiareni wa syphilis, twapima malaria, twapima cancer, twapima ureba amabere, barire kiwango kia amanyi gasomobere na yanda amangu twapima bara kama se nyektari yetu ya Cosmeris Medical Center. Yangu kortora test kuma furimogram twapima twara any infection tukasimogram
Abantu baminto karibu mwensi Cosmery Medical Center. Cosmery Medical Center ni nyagitari yangeni nande bwato bumanyi bwigoro yakire gaso mu chito bosongo igotore si chweted aiga entereko yande Kisi Stadium ya bosongo bose ange sana ne chiobisi chi county government ya Kisi. Cosmery Medical Center tuwati abanyagitari we birango bigoro nanda abanyagitari bare talented in the field y'ubugwenya oise gototarera Cosmery Medical Center etuwate services chons including physiotherapy banta umukonya kurume megongo namagoro totarere Cosmery Medical Center irinda tonyare kuba amachibu yemechando yaino nando buya bogo tarera Cosmery Medical Center again tegetangani igotokora koringoria ntori komonyokera kwa mariogo igo asengencho nimanyeta abantu abange barwarete banyura mariogo lakini mechando yabo terahera bono ga Cosmery Medical Center igotwa realizing again tegetangani tokokorera abantu baitono koringoria asengencho tobugate chimashini chekerengo keigoro to koringoria mechando yawo ekeretwa nyorero mochando bwatu mubiro twamanya kwa mariogo ali keranete sengencho tobwata mariogo isaine igo enare kubasaba onde byensi obwato mochanda aberega kurwali asenga kientambe kwa beri go tadra kinyagitari yao manyete ngake yetwekire go tobegete chibesa mutwe abanyagitari abange igo to koligero chibesa cyao lakini ekerogo cha Cosmery Medical Center igo to koligero obogima bwao nambe yamo twara abrana ki obogima bwao bokwira nasi bwarengeri tangani utarachiko n'uruguriro igo nare kubasaba minto motarere Cosmery Medical Center nondo munyagitare yo moko gokoro boringori bwari yaju elinde tonyare ko barigereri nako bamariogo gente kemokero kinde no mayane nkeringa oise gotarere nyagitari yaito mpako bwene karibu.
asamange banyore ase namba yesimi 0726239234 gose 0726724662 gosubatarire asomo chobosongo mbarabare na Easy Coach Booking Office gose mbarabare na Rubis Petrol Station.
Welcome back to the Voice of Victory. After we have gone to the market and done some little advertisements, it is a heart part 2 which we have been dealing with. There's a recap of last week when we said keep and guard your hearts, because from the heart all life flows. So last week, that's what we started with. We saw that God has given us 2 hearts, that is taking care of one of our hearts and the other one we need to take care of. Awani na omu awole mazona nyasai ta ta chinkora biro na kirene na wangona ko virus na ki mune ikona ko bugate kana na wotoko na ko enda torole na ki as time goes by we'll understand it by and by, and from there you give me an opportunity to do some research, and today we are going to talk of the heart part 2. But because there are so many questions, some of us don't understand what do we mean that God gave us two hearts. So today we will build on the same, that God has given us two hearts. But the big question today, which I need to answer, who is this God? Who is this God? The Voice of Victory is amazing grace, leading souls to Christ. That in the beginning, which is Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, it says, in the beginning God. When we read the Gospel according to John, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word is God Himself. And finally in the book of Revelation, we do know and we do read that this is the revelation of Jesus Christ, which was given by His God. In other words, who is this God? The background, so that we can understand what we mean that we have two hearts, we must understand who is this Creator. There are so many names that we have given our God, that the God is our Redeemer, God is our Creator, God is omniscience, God is everything. Allow me to take you the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 34, chapter 32, verse 4. Allow me, so that we can read together the book of Deuteronomy, which is the 32th chapter and verse 4. There is a message for us this morning, that from there we can put the foundation of who is this God. And that we have understood who is this God, we can now understand why He gave us the two hearts. So I've said it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 4. And it says, He is the rock, that's God. His work is perfect, for all His ways are low and just. A God who is faithful, without breach or deviation, just and right. Those are some of the qualifications of our God. Allow me this morning and this afternoon later to tell you that the God who created the human beings is a rock. The God whom we worship is faithful. The Lord whom we worship has the law. The Lord whom we worship is just. The Lord whom we worship is right. The Lord whom we worship is perfect. Above all, is right. Allow me to say that these are 7 characteristics of God. Some of us were not counting, but let me put them into perception that our God we are worshiping, number 1, is a rock. That this God we are worshiping is perfect. That this God we are worshiping, number 3, He has the law. And this God we are worshiping is just. And this God we are worshiping is right. Above all, this God is right. And in Him, there is no deviation. So when God was planning to do the creation of man, He knew that He needs a perfect man. He knew He wanted somebody who will follow His law. What are we saying this afternoon? That we have two hearts. And I separated them, and let me do the recap again. That there is a palm here, which is biological, we call the mammalian heart. And for your information, all mammals have the heart. And that's why they are called mammals, because they have a mammalian heart. Like now a fish, it doesn't have the same heart, the same like you. Or a reptile doesn't have a heart like mine. Let me know a lot of biology and the complication. Let us understand. Between our chest, we have a heart, which God has taken care of. And that's where life springs. This Lord whom we are worshiping is taking care of the pump, which is there to circulate the blood, which is there to circulate oxygen, which is there to take food from where they are supposed to go to all parts of the cells. And this heart maintains our body temperature. They can go on in the biology class. But God intended that this heart, He must take care of it. So long as you are breathing, the Lord takes care of your heart. Sometimes it's not easy. You don't even remember. You're going to be asleep, but the heart is still bumping. You're going to be walking and walking without your knowledge, but the heart is there. God is taking control of it. That's why I say God has taken care of what is between your chest, and that's your heart. Number 2, He has told us, let us take care of the second heart, and that is our brains. That is our heart. That is our mind. Let me develop with the Father that all lives springs from the heart. When you are saying it springs from the heart, this very God knew that if our mind is stable, we can go far. This God is as stable as a rock. He doesn't move. He doesn't change. The other word we use is immutable. A God who does not change. As rocks, leave alone the new technology which has come. And it reminds me of what I said, that after the Second World War, there were many things which changed. But God foresaw them before the creation of the world. Allow me again to say this, that when we are saying why and what caused the Second World War, God was in control. God is perfect, God is just, God is right and good, and that is His law. Part 2 of our heart. This seems in the 21st century, the youth challenges we have mainly comes from our hearts. Yes, the challenges we have in our youth in the 21st century. Remember, that's the big matter that we are talking, that these are challenges in the 21st century. What was yesteryears is not the same today, but the problems are the same. It reminds me of the Second World War. And as I said, let me repeat, that the Second World War has brought a lot of changes to the world. In 1914 through 1919, people didn't expect that there was a war to be there, and that was the First World War. People knew that people were looking for resources. People knew they wanted more power or influence. And that's why the First World War was. But the same mistake was repeated in 1938 before 1939, officially when we started the Second World War. In Europe, there were many governments which came out of the Romans, because we can follow history very well. We had the Babylonians, then we had the Mid-Greece, then we had the Greeks, then we had the Romans. And after the Romans, there were over 10 countries which came out of the colonial of the old, we call the Romans. One of the countries which came, although they have different names, depending whom you are talking to, Germany came out, France came out, Italy came out, Britain, among others. Because of those countries were formed. There were reasons why they were taking. Like now the Germans were able to talk to the Germans, so they came together and they called themselves Germans. The brothers came together and they called themselves British. Then the French who were talking Franco, and they had to come and they said we were French. So they were geographically identified, and they had one common thing, that was the language. Then they had their geographical aspect, and that's what we call the territory, and it made the 10 countries, or more than 10. Italy was identified because it was at the heart of where St. Peter was crucified and died. I'm putting the background that our God does not change. Our God is like a rock. That's why we say our God whom we are worshiping is the same yesterday, today, and forever. It's like a rock. It's perfect. It does not change. It doesn't deviate. God says what He means, and He means what He says. Some of us someday you can say those are just jokes. But I'm introducing you this man by the name of God. that this God is perfect. This God is a rock. And this God has known everything to us. What am I saying? This afternoon, we need to be careful of whom we are talking to and who is this God. And many times, many of us lose the direction and the focus because we lose to focus on God. In the 21st century, these are some of the challenges our youths are going through because they change their mind, because they change their hearts. Yes, it has come to be known that most of our boys and girls are taking careers, are taking profession according to their parents' advice, which is very good. And another one, some of us are taking careers and awards because of our teachers. In other words, there is somebody who's guiding you on to make decisions. Oh, my dear parents, sometimes it's very unfortunate to force your boy or girl to do and compensate of what you didn't make. I know some of us are very clever, very intelligent, but because we lost the opportunity of going to school because of one reason or the other, can it be there was no money? Can it be there was no school within your facility? Or there was nobody who was invited in your family to take you to school? Whatever the reason, that's why you didn't go to school. Can have our forefathers and the parents, can be engineers, can be doctors, lawyers, the white-collar jobs. Let me tell you, not all of us must be in the white-collar job. But the best is there are issues in the 21st century that our boys and the girls, we are inclined, we are forced to do what our parents want us to be. After all, they are the second God. What are we saying this afternoon? There is a number which is on the screen. If you want to comment, you can have it. Put your SMS there. And we can read the messages. There are so many, like now, when I look at them, they are so calm. Like somebody from Tabaka, anasema salamu, anaitwa Mautungeri, amewasalimia kutoka hapa Tabaka. And there are so many others. But now this thing is provoking me to say that in the near future, we may start having those who want greetings. So some are even watching from Kisii, and they have said, and this one is among Nantabu. That's what this is saying. So those of you who can write the messages, you can have them, I have your phone here so that I can read the messages. Sometimes you can ring and comment on them. But what are we saying? There's a screen number which is passing in your screen. If you want, you can make a call. That one is now officially for the studio. And the one I'm going to come over and get the number. And yes, studio na you and what I work out. And I got that again. I saw the gym corridor. Na kwa no munuye ni andambalia wande muatigaire. Sitigana kwa nangu munuyo oba abana tata. Na to kwa na ginya saw the gym corridor. Enkole amana yere kuba ime kona kwaka manyinga. Ora ara turi koigwa. Lakini anaye ndata kwaka. Ekaro kolega si to nyorine ngoro ne ro lakini anaye ndata gas. Wana karo kwa ya na enkole ino ere. Na enkole ne saw to ire akabere ne birengere. Ige birengere ne biko gardo ko ne bintu birense. Mida to kwa na mo so le. Ya saw to ire jin koro ire e ama to le ndrede ye kwaka manyinga. Era manyinga karo to ro mo bere. Ibere ri abo. Wanyu mbeo wata igona ginya sana akolende to moyo ogote na olende enkolende ye ko kwebirengeri iboro bongo ekara kurwa so bongo no mugima bokuru chipara to bugate chinyomba to bugate chikoroba to bugate chigari ne bintu binde ebyose bibero si wedra so birengeri yo mondo igobo gima bora se birengeri do ara chipara nyamonda ta rengeri to kole me para do ale kare kidogo monda ta rengeri to koro si kare kita do ale koro ni monda rengeri to ne koro be kwa gajo igebe binde byonse bito kororo no bogi mabokoro. That's where life come from. Igotari to kare kwa kale igo ro mutari kororo de na gi yasa na kore ndete nkoro egwa ka manyi nga no bogi ma ekara ko borusio enkole ende akabere koruo wigoro kwe birengeri akato ko break ngana dore shika budura oni tumade banaba sose no hale kenyorekyo Era be kamatera be ko sata tabu na ndara agenda bujituka ara one bintu. Aga to konyere to nyabantu bandu bagwa kasimi go jaga so bago boli. Era to na ba na nagi nyumato tararwa ntuma ko mango Nyasaye. Na ko na Nyasaye to ko sa sima Nyasaye to ne getare. Era aro mo ikaranu era mo nyaboronge era ne ri chiko na ndara ga korra wedani onsi abo te jimbusa na ibere. To ko break to era sa yo asa yande. Tedra anda muno jitu ko tra oni kama bibere e kara wando male bago e kama tangazo e ka to jira to ko le tra oni ngenda kama bibere abu jitu ka na ko tera ko ma to yo guru abu mongur de ga bananu abu da break to ka ndra guru
Ngobigoro. Spexes Opticians Kisi, Voigo, Ngwanchabarichi Bima Chowo Gwene Kurwasti Company ao Buneria ya AAR, GA, Liason, MUAA, Kenyan Alliance, Kenbright, Lucent, Pioneer amo ni chinde chinyinge.
Igo bagotoka asomo chobosongo
igatia Old Shivling Supermarket amona KCB Bank. Arias omuchomo ne Nairobi igokobanyora asamagacha Balfa House Mbarabare na Java House aseparenene ya Kimathi Street.
Welcome to Spec Sales Opticians, Goodka Clinic Kisii. We are located next to Shivling Supermarket and KCB Bank. So we'll go through a few things where we start the eye test. We offer free eye tests and with all the latest machinery. Starting from here, we come here and we give you the best eye test possible in Kisii town.
Jambo, kwa majina naitwa Bwana Malomba, msaidizi daktari katika Spec Sales Opticians Goodka Clinic. Hapa katika kliniki yetu tunasaidia watu ambao walio na tatizo mbalimbali. Kwa mfano, walio na tatizo ya kuona, kusoma na shida ya mwangaza. Karibuni.
Nabokubanyora asina mbaye Valencom Trading Enterprises ne duka yekerero igotoka somo chobosongo yeragere enkayago etonerwe n'abantu bange. Valencom Trading Enterprises nigoko ni bintu ao nabono chi sofa set ibirogo byobisi chi carpet chi pillow chi stand chi TV chi wood tables, glass tables, chi dressing table, chi shoe rack, chi mattress, chi duvet, chi electric cookers, chi office tables, goni bare chi wardrobe, goni bare chi bed covers, goni bare ebitanda beti size ao, goni bare chi bath mat, goni bare chi dining table, chi dispenser chi amache, chi breaker chi chigotumeke stima, subwoofers, goni bare chi moppers, goni bare chi meza na boige birogo ibigotumeka na abana bake asogosomera. Boigo goni bare ibintu bigotumeka stinka na bono chi jaga, ibichunchugo, chi thermos, chi sufuria, goni bare chi frying pan, goni bare bikombe, chi sani, chi hot pot amone bintu binde binge bigotumeka asichinka. Asamange na boko banyora sinamba yesimi ekobwatia enoti isano na ibere moinye isano nemo isano na isato enoti ibere isano na ibere 0714680227 gose enoti isano na ibere isano isato isano nemo ibere isano nemo isato 0725336263 gosenda bako batarira seduka yabo igotoka chinsemo cha Mwembe igotoka imemo chobosongo ase pare nene ya Kisii Kilgoris ayirira oike Valencom Trading Enterprises edindo nyorere binto aserigori ria inse.
Aba mintongoro Kelvin osire huko ngangu si njeno monyagitari bwa mangana ya mental health so monyagitari bwa bongo ase betamiri hub to korega siyo konya abantu wangire kubetere mechane yo kunywa mariogo yo gotindi amona maru kerwa kirega betaminto bwate abonyagitari njeno yo mo bwo bakonya twaba mariogo na twaba sibye bitebikoro mubere baba bantaba ya kabisa twange yakoba mafunzo twaba train kero babo soka kororo banyaramba bwategento bakora baenda bakorega asibe konya twaba tukuba bwati sikali na kibaenderete twakonyera abantu abange babeire buya bayiraniri gototebimbu ya mono una abandi tuko boro kiase omwere bwe video yengo boro kitore bali twangero twanyare ko batobokonya bakabanyorere tsigasi etutagete leta abantu bamino banyore obokonyi baruga abanyore chigas
kero tore Beta-Me rehab program nere koroku aftercare togocha twarana kibaendrete follow up toko make follow up na chirega ne team yana kora follow up korora bali oyo mo bolengo role korokuna Charles bono Charles nonye industry taxi ya ongo kusabali baga unganzere ngo boli amaswali makeigo nongeri baga
nanchire
bono ndete komanyana ki oendrete gisa oru Beta-Me wa korete metinyi tatororo karworo ga cheiska ngakioro chobo mabwa chenjiri kero utaracha Beta-Me ne kero kwarure Beta-Me
yo mindo myagitari ndoche ngana bo maisha ne ajitaga change kabisa ndoche nganya sae ongonyete kangorokia Beta-Me rehab kiara bono ndoche sikogali sina rengi konyora konyona chandikire na boraibu wa madawa kulevya na bantu bane familia ane konyora ya tamire ko ya madawa kulevya bondo jikuru ngichenya gitari ya Beta-Me ndoche na konyekire ndoche nyasa ndaete ngacha oje senya gitari ya
asante ingi mono gyako gogeti kero kwarenge Beta-Me utanyari ko bokwiyo
aligo na roje ngaba nyagitari baro barekia ring naende ndagira mali nabo ntoko nyoranga turi njarateyo nabo kana roje company good company
wono lilio taracha Beta-Me nekero gwachire Beta-Me na roche pasta ngo tare abasabera mono kero mole Beta-Me no endrete bado na koende kanisa na mafunza ari mwale koebu kiaira kero kwa ngeiru raibu konyore bintu mune kanisa ya rule meao
bononga se mongana yo gotore kana bana tore kuru abu Beta-Me naende ngwa kera nyasaye mbia mono kiera mpaka bono kuru yeli buguma bwana boga chenjia kanisa nana komisi
igombira ingiora tei bali babwate mechando bune kwa bwate kare ilio taracha Beta-Me ingiora nyare ko ba ujumbe kiora nyare ko boko batebi
kakingo batebi ngaba join Beta-Me rehabilitation kiara na baba konyeka mbaluzi hope baisa goja iga Beta-Me abara konyeke
ine no manyite buna voice
Yes, welcome back to Voice of Victory, Amazing Grace, Reading Souls of Christ. We have been out for advertisements and some songs. I think you have enjoyed. Stay there, same station, same time. Back again, this is Elder Daniel Ogeji, and the same youths and the challenges we do have with our young people in the 21st century. And before we went to break, there we are, we heard that the Second World War had to bring a lot of changes in the world, up to date. And this one I'm repeating so that we can and they can sing that in Europe there was a country by the name of Germany. These Germans wanted to be monopoly, or they wanted to be bigger than their brothers. Wanted to attack the Protons, they wanted even to attack the Italy's among others. But as time went by, the Second World War was mainly provoked by the man called Hitler. Hitler was one of the, what they call chancellors in Germany, who was their president. And because of pride and he was able, he had resources, I went and I conquered one of the neighbors and they took it. But Britain, Italy, and other Poland, they were not happy, but they said, let it stay. Then he saw another one place where these Germans, his brothers were on the other side, he wanted to bring them. Then he did the same. And they had agreed that there should be no war because of resources or trade. And that one he did it in less than 1 year. The first one he did it in March, the second one he did it almost after 7 or so months. Between March and October, he was done. But on the 1st September of 1939, war broke in Europe because of the man Hitler. He wanted to go for another country, and the other brother said, no, we should not do it. So France, Britain, and others were on one side. Here was Germany with Japan and other countries. Then America went and supported the Europeans in the name of the Protons and the France. Then there was war all over the world. What I want to say is that after the Second World War, there were those what we call results. The repercussion is what we are having today. And that's why you are able to see me in your bedroom. That's why you are able to see me in your sitting room. That's why you are able to see me wherever you are, even in YouTube. That's why you are able to get this sound. I'm very far from where you are, but you are able to get my sound. You are able to see me physically because of the impact, the repercussion, the results of the Second World War. After the Second World War, for those who don't know, it brought back and it gave birth to education. And this education now was formed. That's one of the repercussions, that's one of the results. That after the Second World War, education was more now organized. Number two, because of the Second World War, many African countries wanted to be independent. That's why after 1945, African countries started struggling for their independence. Others got in the early 50s, others got in the early 80s. 60s. And that's why we're saying these are the results of the Second World War. But what I want to develop more is that our God is a God who does not change. He's like a rock. He's perfect. He's just. He's right. Above all, he doesn't deviate from what he thinks. That's why when we are talking of the heart, God's mind does not change. He's the same today, what he was yesterday, and that's what he will be tomorrow. But we, human beings, we may be subject to change. According to conditions, all it depends on the circumstances. Resources being one of them. Time is another one, among other things. So this afternoon, the challenges we are having with our youths, after the Second World War, there was this education. It changed the mindset of all human beings. Then we started what we call modernization came in. But before modernization, there was industrialization, which was there at the severe, we call the severe civil engineer. Anyway, that's history. Let me say there was industries. Then we have now what we call modernization. After modernization, in the early 80s, we had what we call technology. After technology, today we have what we call digital. And these things have changed the world because of the Second World War. People were able to think out of the box. The West went and the East. Then we had what we call USSR, United on the other side, which was the Eastern. Then we had the USA, which is on the other side. Even this church, but the Catholics, we have the Eastern Catholics and we have the Western Catholics. And they have deviation among them. Get me right, there are those ones in the East, they can do marry and they are in the church. But in the West, it's a different story. That's why you heard their leader the other day said that there are some laws which they need to change because they have been there for over 1,000 years. So what was applicable 1,000 years will never be applicable in the 21st century. Yes, we need to remind ourselves. These are some of the challenges we need to address. In this century, our hearts must not change, but they must be fixed on Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. I repeat, our hearts must not be changed. It must stand steadfast, according to what we say to Jesus, who is the author and the finisher of our faith. Many boys, many girls, the youths, who are going to be the next generation, they are over 70% of the world population. Figures don't lie. They say, whenever you are walking either in the streets, in the big cities, a good number on the streets are the youths. The old ones and the young ones are very few. The productive age, which is between 20 and less than 50, these are the majority people. And when you go between 20 and less than 35, that's where we have the Chang, a majority of the people, and those are the youths, who are very energetic, who are very enthusiastic, who are very potential, who are very productive. But this is again where the devil hits us most. He knows these are the people who can read tomorrow. He knows these are the people who can change the world upside down. So we read the book of Acts, chapter 4, that these are the men who have changed the world upside down. Yes, Voice of Victory is leading souls into Christ. Our hearts are yearning to our boys. Our hearts are yearning to our girls. In other words, the youths. They are not reflecting the true color that they are able to take the mantle from the old ones. Yes, some of us may be not there tomorrow. By virtue of either age or natural instinct, that we may not be there. Wanda wana kuone ikasonga kuno kuone kenge wane yaki. Lakini na kuone ngana ya mana ki amma ngana na to kuliyo ne kare segi ya erete ya kabere injanya wana ta abana na abajokuru. Abana ba to to mwana mutanga ne to gete chise mijiga so ko ro kana jita ro kanete. Abando wadana to waja grekerero. Ekara kiaro ba de to technology. Lero to ko de to ko digital. Ina senge njo yewo muntu ole ko kune sege kare ayarate e kabiara jisem njikabiara obo ndo ko modernization oborobu kaja oborobu arulo technology ya jire technology ya abia digital lakini kwa naona kwa sore orale ko resinde sana lakini wewe ndio kiriano anda bande mono je sibikija na wana mo kuona na nje mnaona kajisi mnamojiria ana wongolile ngua naye na ande ko verify. That's the digital. Like the other day when I was walking, I met some of my youths. And there were about 5 of them. They were along the road, but they seated behind on a bench. Bona barombale kukuona kero monda kwa de esi miaina obali tu wana kotocha. Ngawolo ngibona kulikele biranga liyo musaje one boyiro. And ya na manga also. Yes, as much as the phone is there, but it has brought a lot of loneliness. Masomi ama kuona hiyo. Anda wange wali rejisimi wakagire na bantu bebire ko ambana bantu. Kana na ngeze mechi. Wakanyalo mwaka na walo mongene na bana. Kero monda ale simime ondade yo kuona nonde. Lakini bantu bade ko ambana bantu basi ko bwa wali neti. Kanya mwana kana wajati ne friend jaje kale siko. Lakini yomba dai ko kuona ngina nice. Oino mo jano na gi our hearts have been drawn away from what is reality. Ibinde binge bigenda kosaleka asenge njiji. Ibinde binge bigenda kosaleka asenge njitu amire ndogolo digital world. But this is my sincere prayer. No mo sabana nagi enkole ana iruwa manaye. Acelero otuwale kolgena who is this God? Part 2. Enkoro igetongire no mondo yetogete Nyasaye. Nyasaye igare getale. Nyasaye do sabaro moikeranu. Nyasaye do sababa is just, is good and right. Yani ana wada chimbo gete chitari ko change. Nyasaye mendo do na kolgeralia. Which may lead us to the next level on the how this human heart must be. Even though Nyasaye is everywhere at every time. Omnipresent. Yani ana kutoka na ndo toke zengim at the same time. Na wale nyombaga, na wale mwao wabo, na wale America, na wale Europe is all over in the universe. Omnipresent. Yani God is present everywhere at the same time. But with me, I'm present in this studio at this time only. I'm just in this. That's why we say we need to understand this heart, which is called Part 2. That we will continue to know the details of omnipresent, omniscience. Omnipresent, chisemi gabwate no mongaini agegareta bukya yagwatana ondo ino nale olemire ne chisemi no mongaini tigagenda ase Nyasaye ama chisemi no mongaini singa kitu ikire Nyasaye to mongaini chisemi Nyasaye to biranga bine gwetani ebyo ige wiki goja ndogenda part 3 on the heart yere se mwanya bantu abana gwanja to so isika buto de ndaka membere asenga nja abana mwana zile iga until next time abana iriama and God bless you fundi wa mitambo.